to my channel. My name is Elena. For those of you that are new, welcome. My blood sugar is currently 97. And it's currently 8:13, so just getting up for the day. But yeah. Let me get dressed and make this bed right here, and then we will be back. Okay, I'm feeding my dog. No, really super quick. Some of her food fell on the floor, so but she'll eat it. But I don't know. I feel bad when it doesn't make it in the bowl. I'm like, let me pick it up and put it in her bowl for her. Okay. I'm 102, so I'm gonna go ahead and bolus. I'm actually happy that I'm waking up at between 90s and 100s. So, because low 100s and 90s, that's good. Pre-breakfast, I don't like when I'm above the 120s. I do not like that. So, I'm gonna go bolus now from breakfast, and then we will be back. Okay, coffee is made. I always drink my coffee through this cup because I love that cup. I'm not drinking hot coffee, so, but coffee through this cup is so delicious. It's always something about that first sip that makes it so much better. Okay, but I'm about to split my breakfast in half. And then for me, what I've noticed is oatmeal for me is like a cereal. If I ate the whole thing of this, I'd spike after breakfast, but we're gonna prevent that. So that's why I've only been eating half of it. Because if I only eat half of it, my blood sugar tends to do better, a lot better. But maybe, I don't know, because I was eating the whole oatmeal and then doing a HIIT workout, but I've not been doing HIIT workouts, and HIIT workouts do raise my blood sugar. So, maybe it was just a HIIT workout. I honestly, maybe it wasn't the oatmeal. But we're not going to test that theory just yet. We'll give it some more time. Because I'm kind of skeptical. Because my blood sugars have been so good after just doing half. And doing a strength workout. And I don't want to mess that up. But I know that as type 1s, we're all going to spike after we eat what we eat. That's just the life of a type 1, you know? It's never going to be perfect. It's never going to... You might have some days that are perfect, but, each day is a new day, so... I'm just going to stick to my normal, because I'm not trying to mess anything up. Okay, I'm going to put this back, and then we will be back. Okay, so I just got done doing my workout. I did 265 calories, for my strength workout, so not bad at all. Because I did not get to work out at all yesterday because I had to get up early, go in and sub at my work, so that was fun. But yeah, and then I had to take my dogs to the vet appointment, and then I didn't get back till like, it was already like 7 o'clock, and then I had to change my pump, because my pump expired when I was at work, and then, I was already late, and I was tired, so I did not have the time to work out yesterday. I'm glad I burnt as many calories as I did today. But yeah, once I get upstairs, I'll fill you in on what this video is gonna be about, so stay tuned. Okay, so I am back upstairs, and this video is gonna be kind of different because I want to give you guys something different, something that you guys normally don't get to see a lot. So, I asked Chat GPT, to ask me some questions about like type 1 diabetes from my YouTube channel, so I could do a Q&A for you guys. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll post like the screenshot of some of the questions that I took. But I also did write them down on this little handy dandy piece of paper right here. So, but before we get into that, I'm gonna like do the dishes and get the dishes done, and then let my phone charge up a little bit, and then we will be back so I can answer the questions that Chat GPT asked me. So stay tuned. Alright, I'm done doing my what's it called? The dishes. So my blood sugar is a little bit high. I'm like 251, but that's normal for after breakfast. And with me doing a site change yesterday, it's probably just giving it time because I put on a new pump last night, so right before dinner. So but I'm gonna get into the questions for you guys, so we're gonna do that now. So, and these are questions from Chat GPT. The first question is, what exactly is type 1 diabetes and how is it different from type 2? Type 1 diabetes is pretty much where your pancreas stops producing insulin, and it's different from type 2 because, type 1 is long term until there's a cure. Where type 2, if you eat right and exercise, you can eventually reverse type 2. So, whereas type 1, you can't, At what age were you diagnosed and what were your first symptoms? I was first diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when I was 7 years old. My first symptoms were I was extremely thirsty, very thirsty, lethargic, and I would have to use the bathroom a lot because I was very thirsty. So, I don't think I had any other symptoms. Maybe I was losing weight, but it was a couple years ago. It was like, I'm 28 now, so we're talking about this October will be 21 years. So, yeah. How did your life change right after diagnosis? Well, right after diagnosis, I remember coming out of the hospital, coming home. We had to stop at the grocery store because I even had to get snacks for school. So we had to look at like the carbs and everything, and pretty much after I got type 1, they tested me for hypothyroid, because yes, you can type 1 diabetes is autoimmune, and you can get other autoimmune stuff with type 1. So I got like hypothyroid, but yeah. And I had to count carbs and everything, and just looking at the carbs each time you want something, you know. And if my blood sugar was high, I couldn't have like a snack, you know, with carbs. I would have to have like a string cheese or a jello that's like 0 carbs. So yeah, it changed quite a lot. I had to do a bunch of injections because back then I was not on a pump. This was like 21 years ago. So yeah, it's all just crazy, but now there's technology, so I'm thankful for that. I'm actually gonna move to a different spot so you guys can see me up closer. Okay, hopefully this should be better. Comment if this is better. What does a typical day of managing your blood sugar look like? Well, you know, a typical day, I get up in the morning and I look at my Dexcom either on my phone or on my Apple Watch, and I'll see where I'm at. And say, for instance, I'm above 120, I'll go ahead and bolus. But like this morning, I was at a whopping 92, so I did not feel the need to bolus. So because that's, not considered high. So but I typically look at my Dexcom throughout the day just to make sure I'm in range. If I notice I'm going low, I'll eat like a snack. Or if I notice I'm going high, I'll do the use blood sugar in my Omnipod 5 app, and I'll give myself whatever correction it says, just so I can get it before it goes high. But sometimes, it doesn't always work. Might have to like drink more water or, take a walk or something if I can. But, that's what a typical day looks like. Bolusing ahead of time when I'm high, stuff like that before I meal. What do you always carry with you when you leave the house? I always carry my insulin bag, which has my snacks in it. It has like my fruit snacks, because those do not get crushed up. I have applesauce pouches in there. I have my glucagon in case. I have my insulin. I also have my Novolux Flex pen in there. I have a backup pump just in case something were to happen with the pump I'm wearing now. And then I have a glucagon in case like I'm low and I'm unresponsive, and you gotta get the glucagon in me. I have that, which luckily, knock on wood, we've never had to use that, so that's good. How do you this is a great question. How do you handle diabetes at school/work when you're busy? Because I work, and technically we're not supposed to have phones out, but my diabetes, if it goes off like super, like if it says I'm high, okay, I'm gonna pull it out, acknowledge the alarm, and do a quick bolus. If I'm low, I'm gonna also acknowledge it and sit down and have a fruit snack. Have a fruit snack. Or an applesauce pouch. So, can you eat sugar or sweets? Oh, yes. Yes, you can. You can eat them in moderation, but all we have to do is bolus for them. I'll eat sugar or sweets typically when I'm low, because you're supposed to have something sugary or something sweet when your blood sugar is low to get it up. How do you count carbs and how accurate do you have to be? So typically I look at the back of the package because it'll say like carbs. So if I'm gonna have, let's say, 2 slices of bread, it'll say serving size bread, 2 slices, 18 carbs. And if that's all I'm having, then I'll enter in 18 carbs. I feel like if you're like 5%, 5 carbs over or like 5 carbs under, it's not that bad, but like if you're way over that or way under that, then yeah, you're gonna have that high blood sugar rise or that low blood sugar later on. So, what's a low and a high for you, and how do you treat each? A low, is probably like 80, and I 80 or lower, and I'll have like 15 carbs and then wait 15 minutes and hopefully it'll come up. A high for me is anything above 180 or higher, and I'll basically either take insulin for it or drink my water. Any type of body movement helps. So, do you use an insulin pump or injections? Which do you prefer? I use my insulin pump is on my stomach. I use an Omnipod 5 insulin pump. I prefer the pump because then it calculates, like when I enter in my carbs, it calculates how much insulin I'm getting per my carb ratio. So that's a big help, Will. Insulin injections, you have to do the math yourself, figure it out per your carb ratio and everything, and so the pump makes it a whole lot easier. What is a CGM, continuous glucose monitor, and has it helped you? A CGM continuous glucose monitor is this little lovely thing I'm wearing on my arm, the Dexcom G7. Yes, it has helped me because I'm able to look at my blood sugar. I don't have to finger stick as frequently as I used to, like before I got the Dexcom, so that's lovely. It's helped me because, like, another big reason it's helped me is because, like, before I got the Dexcom, I didn't know what my blood sugars were. My A1Cs were, like, in the 7s, so, but now, with, like, Control IQ built in to the CGM and the Omnipod, like, my A1Cs are in, like, the 6s. I know most people want them in the 5s, but, as a type 1 diabetic and someone with arthritis, being a female, an A1C in the 6s is pretty good, I feel like. So, I'm doing my best here. What's the hardest part about living with type 1 that people don't see? The hardest part about it is pretty much the ups and downs, the highs, the lows, and you just never know if the next day is going to be the same or not, Have you have you ever had a scary low or high experience? A scary low experience, and this was a couple years ago on Christmas Eve. My mom took a nap. Well, I fell asleep on the other couch. When she woke me up, we had to get ready to go to my aunt's house for the Christmas Eve, like, party that we always did with family, of course. So, when she woke me up, I was like, I'm gonna go to the hospital, you know? She was freaking out. She checked my blood sugar. I was 27. I started having, she gave me like a cookie, candy canes. I don't even know how many carbs I had because it was years ago, you know. By the time I got to my aunt's, all of that like caught up to me, and I was like in the 300s. So that was that. But my scary high was when I was obviously diagnosed. I was 900. You never want to be above. I feel like you never want to be above 250 or higher because that leads to DKA and, you know, but yeah, 900 when I first got type 1 diabetes, like, yeah, it was scary. Like when the pump stops working and I go high, you know, I get nauseous, I get ketones, and ketones are like acid in your blood, so you never want that to happen. We try everything we can to prevent going to the hospital, so, and it usually works. How do you deal with burnout or frustration? With a burnout or frustration, I normally like either talk to other diabetic friends or, you know, I like to color in my book, in like my coloring book, or I'll listen to like praise and worship music. Just kind of helps me get through, you know, because yeah, type 1 diabetes is so hard, and you know, it's a lot, and just don't give up, you know. Yeah. The next question is, what's the most annoying misconception people have about type 1? The most annoying misconception people have about type 1 is like, oh, they say, you can't eat that. But I can. I can eat it in moderation, and all I have to do is give myself insulin for it. Like, okay, do people ever confuse it with type 2, and how do you respond? Yeah, people confuse it with type 2. They compare their A1Cs to mine, and I'm like, you know, type 1 diabetes is harder than type 2 because you're going to get the fluctuations, and pretty much whatever you eat, it's going to make your blood sugar spike, you know, because that's just the life of a type 1 diabetic. But with type 2, you eat normal, you eat the right way, you exercise, you know, you might have good blood sugars after a meal. So that's like, you know, the most thing that like, that the most thing that annoys me. I don't know how to explain it. Have you ever been blamed for having diabetes? Oh, I don't even want to get on this topic. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yes. People will say, you got diabetes because it's the way that your parents ate. I'm like, first of all, that's not true. And like, second of all, like, you don't get type 1 diabetes from the way your parents eat. Like, it's because your body stops producing insulin and it's genetic. So if someone else in the family has diabetes, it's passed down from generation to generation or gene to gene. So um how do friends or family support you? Friends and family support me because they tell me, like, when I'm venting to them about type 1 and like my blood sugars, they tell me, oh, like, you're doing such a great job, your A1C is like in the sixes, like, don't give up. Like, today's probably just, it's just doing not what you want it to, but just like drink water or go on a walk, or like don't look at your blood sugar and don't let it stress you, because if you're stressed about your blood sugar, it'll only make it go higher. So, what do you wish people understood about living with it? I wish that people understood that, like, some days are going to be harder for me than others. And if I ever, like, mean to you guys, it's because, like, it's either A, I'm low, or I'm just moody and cranky because of the ups and downs, and I'm just tired, and, I'm trying not to take it out on people, but, and that we can eat whatever we want. We just have to take insulin. And that my A1C, whatever it's at, it's my business. It's not anybody else's business. And that I'm doing the best I can. What's your go-to low snack? My go-to low snack is either my fruit snacks, the Mott's fruit snacks, which are really good. Like Twizzlers sometimes, the Willy Wallaby Twizzlers, ring pops. I just got like cotton candy peeps for Easter, so, and like a thing of cotton candy that you would get at like the carnival, so pretty much that when I'm low, or the Airhead Extreme Bites, those are pretty good. Those are like my go-to low snacks. If diabetes had a personality, how would you describe it? I would describe it as stubborn if it had a personality, because some days it is stubborn. And not gonna lie, like, I just think it's stubborn because, like, if you try to do something to get it down, it might not come down. If you try to do something to get it up, it might not come up. It might take its time. So, very stubborn. What advice would you give someone newly diagnosed? I would say some days are going to be harder than others. Not every day is the same, but push through. You're stronger than type 1, and to never give up, and that there's a community full of type 1 diabetics here to help you. And yeah, that's what I would say, and that you can do anything. You're just like a normal person. Don't let diabetes stop you. What would you tell your younger self on diagnosis day? What I would tell myself on diagnosis day is that, you didn't get diabetes because you ate bad. You got it because God basically knew that you could handle it and that you're strong. You're a strong person inside and out. and to keep pushing yourself, you know? And to be an inspiration to other people. What's something positive that's come out of having type 1? Something positive that came out of having type 1 is that, you know, you're an inspiration to others, like, because you deal with a lot day in and day out, and, you know, you can do what a non-diabetic can do, you know, and that, you know, I'm trying to, like, eat better and, like, exercise so that way I don't get any other, like, health conditions. So it's, like, push me to, like, make better choices. So there's that. But if you're a type 1 diabetic, I want to hear from you in the comments below. So I've got some questions for you. What's your go-to low snack? What's the hardest part of living with type 1 for you? Are you on a pump or CGM? And if so, which one? And how old were you when you were diagnosed, and how old are you now? And how has type 1 diabetes changed you? Let me know in the comments below. And yeah. I am currently on my walk right now. I was not able to do like an afternoon walk. That's okay. When I get back home, I will close out today's video. But for now, I'm going to finish my walk. I am now laying in my bed. Probably gonna turn the television on, watch some TV for a little bit, then have my snack. But yeah, if you enjoyed this Q&A, please give this video a big thumbs up. Leave me a comment in the comments below if you have a question that I never answered. Leave me a question and I'll answer it. And remember to give this video a big thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you have not already. And like always, I'll see you in my next video. Make it a great one.